Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome, everybody. Okay, let's see who's in. Looks like everybody's here already. Hesham Ibata, Mandela 108, Andy Chuang, Spooner Mort, Lunar Skyclad, Esmeralda Bauer. Can't read today, apparently. Cupie's in. Thank you, Cupie. Space River News. Shari D, of course. Moonlit Illusions in. I'm kind of spaced out. I might be repeating myself. Mark, Ann Gaynor, Skook Strange World, Adam Ant, PG 2424. I think that's everybody. Yes. I think that covers it. Okay, so what's going on? The thumbnail showed Giza Plateau, and what I wanted to show is what I remembered for the last year or two has been that there was just like a wall of city next to the pyramids, but now the city spreads around, so basically 2/3 of the sides of the pyramid are now covered with city. This one was found by somebody on Redcon, but I don't think that person realized the true extent of it. Where was that person? Darn it, I didn't write down who it was, but it was somebody off of Redcon, so good find. Let's see if I can find that real quick. I took a few more off of here. Giza Pyramids. Oh, it was I Have Too Many Questions 7 who found it. All right, for this person, Cairo City was next to the pyramids the whole time, but they don't remember anything to the west side, and so the west is this Pyramid Gardens thing. So I guess that's this. A bunch of people came on here and go, oh, they've been building that in the last 10 to 20 years. Well, it wasn't there like 6 months ago for me. There was nothing over here. It was just, I saw many images of like a wall on this side. The other thing is, I remember the pyramids lined up kind of parallel to the wall of the city. It's not really a literal wall, but the face of the city, and then the pyramids were kind of more like this. And now they're like this. And this area now is parallel. This area wasn't here before. And you can see that it kind of snakes around. Now, a lot of the photos just show the edge of this now. So they'll be like this area right here. You will still see this in most of the photos. I'm not able to find any of the old photos I used to see, which was just this straight section. So I think that something fishy's going on there. It looks like it's going to get kind of entombed inside the city, the way things are going. I pulled up my old Giza pyramids image. I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but last time or if it's just this time that I'm seeing it, but you can see here that remember there was just the 3 big pyramids, and then 3 little pyramids showed up, and then 3 little pyramids showed up on the other side as well, and those are these ones over here. Now, originally the pyramids were all the same size. All 3 were same size here, and all 3 were the same size here. But you can see now that one out of these 3 little pyramids is actually bigger than the others now, and that is definitely a more recent change. The other thing is, I don't remember this white lines here, which I believe are roads, and those are really new for me. It kind of makes sense if you look at this now, that there's so much civilization nearby that we're having a bunch of roads now. But I just don't remember all this white stuff going around the pyramids in this image at all. So suspicious. All right, so the other thing I just noticed, was just kind of peeking at a few of the Sphinx things, is the front paws now are all repair job. It doesn't look like there's really anything hardly left of the Sphinx. It's really run down, and it's all, this used to be like a slightly weathered original, and I don't really see I see some really old images of really badly weathered feet that just, it almost doesn't even look like feet. And then there's this, and that's pretty much it. There's no more. It seems like the original is all going away on the Sphinx. It's just decreasing rapidly. So I just want to mention, for me, the pyramids were originally way out in the desert. I mean, that's a pretty common ME. But I noticed some people don't see that. I mean, the longer we go, the more I seem to be picking up on more people who just remember it near the city. But, oh, the city's grown up a lot in 10 or 20 years. No, it wasn't that long ago that it was miles and miles away. And now I see this whole new tributary show up in like 2 months. And people are saying, oh, they've been building that for 10 to 20 years. I'm like, no, 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 no. Data Junkie mentioned it before. That neighborhood is called Pyramid Gardens, and it was north, but now its old spot is new ancient ruin site called Egypt's oldest pyramid, though it's more of a building shape. Yeah, I've seen some mumbling about there being a mound near the Sphinx that looks like it was another Sphinx. That just showed up the last few weeks, too. Yeah, they were in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, you had to take a bus. They were way out there. I remember looking at them like, oh, it's going to take a long time to get out there. And that wasn't that long ago. I mean, I'm not talking about childhood. I'm talking about maybe 10 years ago. Yeah, in this timeline, and it's been that way for a while, there's two stones between the paws of the Sphinx. For me, there was one, it didn't look like either one of these, and it was further out from the paws. It looks stupid as all get out to me to have these tomb tablet thingies stuck up into the paws like that, but that's how it's been for a while. All right, so I actually have a lot of stuff to cover today, so it's not going to be a slow day. So I'm interested to see how are they going to handle closing this up, because how are they going to handle all those images, like the ME or whatever, all those images of the pyramids out in the desert. I don't know, are they going to close off the city way out here so you can still get a lot of desert? They're going to put some deserty hills over here to hide the city. I don't know, but it seems like the city is engulfing it rapidly, so I'm really curious to see how they're going to handle that. The mystical they. All right, ran into this one. What is Yahoo News or something? Yeah, Yahoo News. A molar pregnancy is a pregnancy that is not viable, meaning a fetus never formed, but instead of miscarrying, the pregnancy continued to grow and produce invasive tissues. So more weird stuff with pregnancies here. It used to be that you would miscarry it, and then that was way back inside. But now they're saying that that the pregnancy mess that wasn't viable can keep growing in there, which is pretty creepy. A molar pregnancy, also known as a hydatidiform mole, occurs in one of every 1,000 to 1,200 U.S. pregnancies. And that's a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of pregnancies. So it's a type of gestational trophoblastic disease. After a sperm fertilizes an egg, new tissues develop that normally form the fetus and placenta, but that molar pregnancy occurs when the tissue that was supposed to form the placenta grows abnormally and can form a tumor that can spread beyond the womb or uterus. Let's see. In a complete mole, the entry continues. No normal fetal tissue forms. In a partial mole, incomplete fetal tissues develop alongside molar tissue. These two conditions are non-cancerous and make up 80% of the cases. The other 20% of molar pregnancies are malignant or cancerous, like Velez's, and involve the spreading of the molar tissue either locally within the uterus or distantly. So it can metastasize. That's just creepy. I mean, so the baby doesn't form, but it just keeps growing like as a tumor, either benign or malignant. Never heard of that before. That's really just gross. All right. Oh, there's that one. It used to be that lion until the pharaoh put a face on it. We're talking about the Sphinx. Yeah, but you know, if you look at the tail, it looks like a dog tail. Now, my old Sphinx didn't have a tail. It's funny, I almost was going to put that up earlier. And then I changed my mind because I have a lot to cover, but I'll stick it up anyway. Now, if you look at this tail here, look at that. It looks terrible in the back. I just ran into this one. Look at all that repair work. It looks horrible. I actually haven't seen an image of this side for quite a long time. Quite a long time. All right, so the tail, the creepy old tail. It's getting bigger and bigger. It just snakes up. It looks like a dog tail, because if it's a lion's tail, I mean, well, let me just make sure lions still have that same tail with a tuft. Because they used to have like a stick, yeah, with a tuft. Okay. So here, assuming they still have it, it was like this with a tuft of fur. Let me just make sure that on the real guys, they still have it. Like the real, okay. Interesting, it's black on the tip now. That's different. Ah, interesting. You can see a lot of the costumes still have the tan colored tips. But yeah, so the lions still have fur on the tip, although it's black now. Interesting. Seeing if I can find it. Yeah, even this female has a black tip. Interesting. And it looks like black behind the ears, too. That's different. Okay, so the point I was trying to make is that this does not have a fuzzy tip, this tail thing. See if I can find the other end of it now. I mean, unless they're going to make an argument that this tail broke down and the tip fell off or something, but it doesn't have a tip, doesn't have a fuzzy tip, so it's not really a lion tail looking thing. So how can they argue this is a lion if it doesn't have a lion's tail? It does kind of look like one of those dogs that has kind of a straight tail, straight thin tail, or maybe like a tiger or something. But yeah, not a lion. Now, in my old timeline, they always said it was a lion, but here they sometimes say it might be like Anubis. And the tail indeed does look more like Anubis, in my opinion. So here's the Anubis argument for this timeline. And if you look at the tail snaking up there, that's kind of how dogs sit, where they kind of just peel their tail along. So, but yeah, it was never Anubis in my old timeline, but it has been that way for like a couple of years at least. Yeah, the tail was tiny when I first saw it like 3 years ago, and it's gotten bigger. Yeah, it looks like it's a repair job now. But it always did. It always did. But it's gotten bigger and bigger. So I don't think it's, you could say, oh, they just repaired it and you didn't know. But it keeps expanding. So I'm not buying it. Oh, baby was Okay, so Esmeralda Bauer. Have you heard about the baby that was genetically modified in 2016 to be HIV resistant? so did we cover this one before and people were saying there was no proof? I'm trying to remember. John Cooey presented the gene editing project. Cat's in here making noise. All right, so yeah, this is what I remembered last time. So they're saying that they don't really have enough evidence to verify this claim that it was genetically modified. That may change, though. It's interesting. I do believe I've covered this one, though. That's the same story. I remember the Chinese guy. When are we going to have a new subspecies of lions? Yeah. Let's see if we have them yet. How many subspecies of lions are there? 2. Asiatic, West. Yep. You called it. Not that I'm surprised. More than that. Commercials. 8 different species of lions. 2 to 3 males and 10 to 12 females. In my original time, there was only 1 male. Then they started saying occasionally brothers would band together, and now it's 2 to 3 males. But yeah, no. Blah, blah, blah. Asiatic lion. God, it looks weird. Popularly known as Indian lion or Persian lion, this species is widely found in the Gir Forest National Park in Gujarat, India. I don't even remember India having lions. Slightly smaller than an African lion, has less developed mane. Barbary lion. Native to Atlas Mountains of North Africa. So I guess it's a real fuzzy. Atlas lion. Once considered the biggest lion species. It is typically considered extinct now, since records depict that some of the last of these species were killed in the 1950s. I wouldn't be too shocked if that one showed up again. West African lion, Senegal lion, native to West Africa. Similar to the lions native Central Africa, but is smaller. North Congo lion. Since 2008, no lions have been found there. Severely endangered. The East African species is described as being from Nubia and has longer legs and less curvier back than other species. Then we have South African Katanga. It is called Transvaal lion after the Transvaal region of South Africa. It has a well-developed full mane and black-maned, and is black-maned as well. The males weigh blah, 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 blah. All right. White lion. Kalahari lion. Boy, look at that one with all that black low. I just didn't have that in my old timeline. The black was up on the head here. Now it looks like he's got a shirt on that's black. Weird looking. Black is really traveling downhill on these guys. Yeah, there's a lot of variation. Anyway, yeah. Can't say I'm shocked, but I hadn't thought to look, so good call. Looks like we have a lot of them. Lion's got Pikachu's tail. Yep. Yeah. All right. Cartilage can grow, but bone usually doesn't after adulthood. Not anymore. Ribs can regrow in this timeline. You lose a rib, as long as the outer sheath is not too damaged, it will regrow. You have to take that sheath off and damage it sufficiently, or your rib will regrow. They said, what, a couple months or something. Wasn't that long to regrow a rib anymore. They look much less majestic now, the lions. Yeah, except for that Barbary lion, which they said is extinct, but I wouldn't be shocked if that thing showed up again. Well, I've never heard of it to start with, but I wouldn't be shocked if it showed up. Okay, let's see. All right, a couple from Esmeralda Bauer. Washington Square is a giant graveyard, apparently. I can't swear this is me. I wasn't a Washington Square addict or anything. I didn't know all about it, but apparently there's 20,000 bodies buried under there. Beware of zombies. The grim origins of Washington Square. So it was an ancient graveyard, 20,000 bodies. It was like, what's it, the east 2/3 of it or something, the majority of it. Until it was absolutely packed with graves, and then they never moved the bodies. They just made a park out of it. So, yeah, that's pretty creepy. I can't swear that wasn't the case before, but it's highly suspicious. All right, another one from Esmeralda Bauer. Lando Lakes. I don't know if you remember a while back, I was talking about how Land O'Lakes butter image changed. It used to have a yellow sun. I could dig it up. This is the weirdest one for me because I still have the old image. But okay, so according to this, what's this? Close that. According to Logopedia, since 1949, it had no sun. Now, I remember talking about it having a yellow sun change into a white sun. But now you can see there's no sun in any of these. There's not even a glowy place. There's not even a white glowy region. And that's not a sun back there. It's like some kind of a cloud thing or something, mountains. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. So what it used to be was a yellow sun, and then it was like a white glowy sun, and now there's no sun, except for whatever this thing on her head is, which isn't really a sun. So yeah, weird. I don't know what to say about these. So yeah, the sun's gone. That's a good find. The weird thing about this is I still have my old indicator photo that when the yellow sun disappeared, I looked and looked for it and I couldn't find it. And then last time I looked for it, weirdly, I did find it. It's not listed anywhere on Logopedia. So all of Logopedia has changed. But here's a snippet. Now you'll see that the whole thing isn't there. Is that why it didn't get altered? Because it's just a piece and the whole Land O'Lakes isn't on there. But I found this on Google a long time ago. And you can see this is about how I remember it originally with this yellow sun. Logopedia, their whole history now says this was never there, which is weird. I don't know if this is like a boo-boo from the ME that missed this change because it's incomplete or what? But I keep thinking that this will change, and it hasn't. But all of the Logopedia images going way back have all changed. Not even the glowy white sun is there anymore. I also don't remember this goofy, stinky cloud thing last time I looked. I don't know what that's supposed to even be. But last time I looked at Logopedia, I did not see that. And I certainly don't remember it from my timeline. I don't remember originally, I think I've covered this one a number of times, the circle thing on her head. I don't remember that. Where it's the O from Land O'Lakes being like kind of sitting on her head, behind her head. But yeah, I don't know. Land O'Lakes, that logo changes a lot. Goofy, stinky cloud thing. Yeah, what is that? I don't know. I mean, if you make an image and then you put this weird yellow cloud back there that looks like there was like a bomb dropped and released toxic gases. I mean, who comes up with a logo like that? I can't get over the lion's new short mane. Yeah, I'm not a big fan. But maybe that Barbary Lion will show up again. Well, again for the first time. And that one has a nice mane. Oh, the brow bone keeps on growing. That's new. The brow bone keeps on growing. I've covered a lot of stuff about the ears keep growing. That was not true in my old timeline. Our face bones change shape as we age. That was not true in my old timeline. Bones did not keep growing. But yeah, we've got all that, there's a lot of like ossification in this timeline where bones grow. I think that was like the starting salvo of this. And then it was the ribs, it was the ears. Our eye sockets enlarge. There's one for you. Okay. Nose and upper jaw continue to change. See, the angle of the bones beneath our eyebrows decreases, which could contribute to the formation of frown lines on our forehead, crow's feet at the corners of eyes, droopy lower eyelids. Yeah, what a trip. Okay. Yeah, that's a good find. Base bones continue to grow. I'm going to write that down. Oops, I'll get rid of that. May occurred early in women between young and middle age. Most of the changes occurred in men between middle age and old age. Okay, not a lot of info on specifically. Do your brow bone continue to grow? The forehead moves forward while the cheekbones move backwards. She can have a big bulbous head. Huh. What causes a protruding brow bone? Frontal bossing changes the way the bone and tissue of the face and skull form. Frontal bossing causes your child to have an enlarged or protruded forehead. Huh. Do faces get wider with age? An overall decrease in volume with increasing age. One prominent change was an increase in the area of the eye sockets in both men and women The sockets became wider and longer. So you get a bigger eyes then, or what? Or bigger eye holes? Huh, that's, well, you know, that kind of can, people may be noticing that their facial structure's changing. I know a lot of us have talked about that. This might be kind of a way to naysay that observation too. Just like when we see the changes in the maps, they say, oh, its map projections have changed. Interesting. Very good find. Yeah, no, it looks like they're growing. Oh, did Curiouser and Curiouser find that lack of sun on the Land O'Lakes? You know, there was for a few years I would check the other channels like every day, but I've gotten kind of lazy about it, so I don't always know what they're up to. New type of lizard called sandfish. Oh, look, it looks like a fish. Oh, it's a skink. Still, I haven't seen that one before. What is it like? Swim under the sand, I would guess. This is a creepy looking skink. Look at the nose on that thing. Huh, yeah, it looks like a fish. Weird. As long as my nose don't get bigger, it's big enough. Let's see. Does the nose keep growing? Yep, our noses continue to grow as we age thanks to changes in soft tissue, muscle, skin elasticity, and the cartilage. Cartilage continues to grow over time. That was not the case in my old timeline. Cartilage did not continue to grow. That's so wrong. It's out. Yeah, so wrong. All right. How about another weird one? This one, I just saw it. This was like yesterday or the day before. Auto brewery disease. Syndrome disease. All right, so we found that there's clouds of alcohol in space. Apparently now you can make your own alcohol in your stomach. Auto brewery syndrome is a rare medical condition in which intoxicating quantities of ethanol are produced through endogenous fermentation, which is like fermentation in your own digestive system. It can occur in patients of short bowel syndrome after surgical resection because of fermentation or malabsorbed carbohydrates. So high carb diet and like digestion problems can cause fermentation where you make your own alcohol and then you get drunk on it and are staggering around because of your own alcohol. So one of the treatments is low carb diet. Fermentation by fungi or bacteria in the gastrointestinal system. Present with signs and symptoms of alcohol consumption. So yes, you can now become drunk on your own intestines. Life Matrix, hey, how you doing? So yeah, I don't know if you're just popping in, auto brewery disease. You can now brew your own alcohol in your own digestive tract and then get drunk on it. So we have to have surgery to benefit from it. I don't think you always How do I get that disease? You know, it may not be fun to be drunk 24/7. I don't know. Um, I don't know if you really had to, you necessarily had to have surgery. Let me just check and see what we got here. Let's see what the almighty wiki has to say. Symptoms. Ooh, it's a very short wiki. That's interesting. This might be like hot off the presses. I've just noticed that when the wikis are short, they're a lot of times it's a new ME. One case went undetected for 20 years. Was that guy who was drunk for 20 years? A variant occurs in persons with liver abnormalities that prevent them from excreting or breaking down alcohol normally. Patients with this condition can develop symptoms of brewery syndrome even when the gut yeast produces a quantity of alcohol that is too small to intoxicate a healthy individual. Hangovers, disorientation, chronic fatigue syndrome, depression, anxiety, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you know, there's almost nothing on here about what causes it other than short bowel syndrome. Is a malabsorption disorder caused by lack of functional small intestine. Huh. Okay, so your small intestine doesn't work well. So you don't have to have surgery. Most cases are due to the surgical removal of a large portion of the small intestine, but it's not required. So you can have brewery disease if parts of your intestine aren't working well for whatever reason. The guy was drunk for 20 years. Yep. I guess you can't drive because you always be drunk driving. The hummingbird hawk moth. Oh, that's kind of an old one, Caspi Crafter. That one's been on. Yeah, they're weird. But yeah, it's like a 1-year-old at least ME for me. All right, so all right, this one's from Shari D. Apparently, we had car navigation systems in 1971. So more tech before its time. 1970s. Set. I didn't even have cassette tapes in the first car that I remember being in. We didn't even have a cassette player. But apparently, they had cassette navigation in 1971. It doesn't say 71 here, but I looked it up elsewhere as well. So apparently it had this. Let me see if I can find the description because it was kind of complicated. Said to have worked with any type of car and that all it needed in order to function properly was the vehicle's specific tire size, which was housed on a small circuit board. I don't remember there being, small circuit boards for that kind of thing in 1971. If the road you were directed to take was closed or was any type of construction work that required a detour, then you were out of luck because it couldn't deal with that. So it was basically a recording that told you when to turn, and it was keyed to some kind of ticking device. So after a certain number of ticks, where it would determine how far you drove, that would trigger the next instruction. The tape also played these beeps of varying lengths, which are then detected by a control unit mounted underneath the dashboard and connected to the car's odometer. The length of the beep is then translated into how many miles the cars must travel before the driver hears the next instruction. All right. Yeah, I don't think so. I'm really suspicious about that. So that one was from Shari D. Good find. All right. Now I'm going back to some old ones that have been morphing. Last time we talked about the solar-powered wasp. This is the one that was the precursor to it, but it has changed since then. All right, so this weird little guy, I found this one a few years ago, and it's like this sea slug. Now, a few years ago, the story was that it would ingest plankton through the food it ate, and it would store the plankton in its tissues and keep the plankton, not plankton, chlorophyll, that would be the word, chlorophyll. It would keep the chlorophyll alive in its tissues, and it was able to do that for several months. And then the chlorophyll would function, creating sustenance out of light, and the animal could survive at least partially on this sustenance that it got from the chlorophyll. So it would only just eat the chlorophyll and then incorporate it into its tissues, is the story at that time. But I looked it up again, and the new story is that it actually somehow incorporates the DNA of the plants it eats into its own DNA and then creates its own chlorophyll. So it is kind of now a photosynthetic organism. But it does say that the chloroplasts, it still has to borrow from the creatures it eats. But now that whole 2 to 3 month rule is gone, it can just keep them. It doesn't have to like re-ingest them every 2 to 3 months. So feeds on intertidal algae, punctures the algal cell with its radula, then holds the algal strand, blah, blah, blah. So it has to still get the chloroplasts from the creatures, but it is somehow incorporating the DNA into its own DNA. So that's a new storyline for me. That has changed. Of course, this thing wasn't in my original timeline anyway, but all right. All right, Ronald McDonald. Who remembers what his hair looked like? Links. Well, apparently in this timeline, he's mostly had straight hair. Now, if you look at the a lot of the costumes, they'll be super curly like that. But most of the images, he's got kind of straight, wavy hair. So, so that's remodeled McDonald hair now. But then you see the wigs for Ronald, and that's what you got. Now, it was a little frizzy way back, but I don't remember any of this straight hair until, like, I'm not sure if we covered this one before, but, yeah, I just don't remember it that way. So this one was found by user Scottack83, SCOTTAQ83. I just saw this one, like, I think I've seen this one before, but somehow it just didn't get that much traction. It wasn't, I didn't see it on any of the YouTubes or anything. So, yeah, that's just not the hair I remember. All right. As a rock hounder, I can tell you that this pulpi geode did not exist before. It's the world's biggest geode. Now, these are not those Mexican giant crystals that showed up maybe, 6 or 7 years ago. That crystal cave has gotten a lot bigger since I first saw it. But this one is like an enclosed geode. It has a different kind of crystal. This did not exist in my old timeline. This is new. It's not as big as those crystal caves in Mexico, but it's working on it. I think that we will see that this expands. Oh, Mystery of the Giant Crystals of Almeria. I think that's the same one. So an enclosed geode it's basically like an egg with crystals inside. It's just massive. Whereas the crystal caves in Mexico are caves that are lined with crystals. It's not actually an enclosed geode thing. So anyway, keep an eye on this. I just suspect that this is going to be expanding, I'm pretty sure. This one shows the crystal caves of Mexico. It's not really a geode in Mexico, last I checked anyway. Yeah, but these Mexican ones, these have really expanded. The cave's a lot bigger than when I first saw it. All right. This is an interesting one. Let's see what you guys are chit-chatting about here. Ah, somebody left me $10. Let's see if I can. I think it must be Andon, since everybody's thanking him. Yes, Andon, thank you. Appreciate that. Very good. Berlin now in Far East Germany. Yeah, no, it was over by the border. I agree with you on that one completely. Chariots of Faith. They do say if you lay on your left side, digestion is easier. And I've noticed about a year ago, sometimes if I lay on my left side, there's just like this weird shifting of, I don't know what it is, air. It feels really weird. My whole insides will kind of like, there'll be this loud groaning noise. It doesn't feel bad or anything, but it's just you could feel everything shifting in there. I never had that before in all my life until about a year ago. And now it happens fairly often if I lay on my left side for a while. I mean, not every time, but definitely something weird. Check out Fish Age. You can mail order and grow into fish. What are they more like? Maybe they can dry out now, I'm guessing. I should actually go to here and do it. $400 aquarium fish eggs that came in the mail. Yeah, I mean, if they're just frozen or like, I could totally see you could order like a packet of them, maybe in some kind of gel, but yeah, I don't know about that one. Found cup of noodles residue. Yeah, there's a lot of them. The Soviet Buran shuttle could land without any pilot, and it did it successfully after a single space flight. Yeah, there's a lot of new stuff in the old space history. Yeah, I think we can just boot the explosion off the channel there, because this is for believers in the ME, not for skeptics. Hate clowns, but Ronald always made me hungry. Yeah, yeah, that's true. You just want fries when you see them. Wow, another 10 from Andon. Thank you. Very much appreciate it. There are so many gems now. Yeah, I was in rock counting and there's so many I could never keep track of them. Every year there's like 10 or 20 new ones. Even 10 years ago it was like that. It was just so I couldn't possibly. There's just thousands and thousands of them. Okay, where are we? All right. Extra bone in foot. I covered sesamoid bones as those weird extra bones. Really strange. So you apparently now some people have these little extra bones all in the hands and the feet. They're like little pebbles. So some people apparently have this extra one in the foot that can cause problems. And I was talking to my hairstylist, and her kids are into ballet, and one of her kids started having foot problems, and apparently according to the doctor, she's always had this extra bone in her foot called accessory navicular syndrome. Supposedly she's always had it, but just out of coincidence, it just started causing problems this year, right around the time that this problem started to exist for me is the time that she started getting this problem. So you can get irritation from the rubbing, or if there's so why even have this thing? Apparently, in the current timeline, it's just a big pain and it's useless. So right there, if you have weird pain or a lump or soreness right there, it could be this accessory navicular bone. Symptoms: bony prominence, redness and swelling, vague pain or throbbing in the midfoot and arch, usually occurring during or after periods of activity. So the treatment is like rest, and then worst case scenario, you have to have it removed. There's different areas. It can be like kind of just a little bit one or a big one, and it's different areas it can be in that area as far as how much it's into the tendon and stuff. So looking at that image too, the back heel is huge now. Look at that back heel. Oh, I've been looking at that for a few years now. I just kept thinking that it kept getting bigger. See if I can see a nice side view. Yeah, see, every time I look at this thing back here is just getting bigger and bigger with this giant knob. And I've already covered how it really looks like there's more meat out to the side of the little toe. Now, very interesting is that just recently, I used to have problems with the back of my heel where it attached to the Achilles tendon. I would get sore tendon there from pickleball, mostly from just kind of stressing it. But then that's kind of gone away, and I hardly have that. And now it aches over here. And it's kind of this new growth area. It aches over on the side of my foot and kind of near the toes, still in the arch. So I've been like going to acupuncture for it and stuff, but just weird. All these years, for all my life, I had that one problem, which was basically right here where this attaches. And now I see this has gotten way bigger. Because see, this tendon used to kind of wrap around and attach over in here. Now it looks like it has like kind of a straight shot because this bone sticks out so far. So it's not going to be sitting here rubbing like it used to. But apparently now the pain is kind of migrated down here. I never had pain down there before. This area of my foot was bulletproof before. So yeah, weird. Actually, I'm just noticing how much that tendon, how much that tendon doesn't wrap around. Tendon. Yeah, it used to wrap. Look at that. I looked at this a lot because I have this problem. Well, look, it's a straight shot. It used to just, that's so interesting. So yeah, now my problems seem to be in here. Weird, 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 weird. Yeah, look, a straight shot down. It doesn't wrap at all. All right, so yeah, that's changed. Hopefully once the foot kind of stabilizes, maybe I will have no pain. That would be nice. I mean, I'm not complaining compared to what a lot of people have to deal with. It's not that big a deal, but still would be nice to get rid of it. Microwave oven sold first in 1946. Yeah, that's way too early. Oh, Dark Wolf's Den's reminding everybody about the RV conference. Yeah, I gotta buy tickets. MandelaEffectConference.com. 17 days. Buy your tickets. It's pretty cheap. Ketchum, Idaho. Probably be a little chilly. Bring your coat. He's got a bunch of speakers. And apparently there'll be other stuff to do during the day. So that's cool. Should be worth it. I think the actual cost of the tickets themselves to the conference is a measly $15. So basically it's just going to be transportation and hotel is what you're going to have to pay. I see people are taming wild animals more and more, like fully domesticating them. Yeah. I just kind of stopped talking about it because it's on like every day on Reddit now. But like, there was a guy had a pet laughing hyena, and another guy had zebras trained to pull a cart. And I see they used to be too wild for that. You couldn't get them to stay steady, but you've got lions walking down the middle of the street in a bit. All right, I think I'm back now. Somehow I lost the internet. Don't ask me why. It's been that kind of day. Looks like where I switched. My ISP has two options for internet, so I switched to the other one, which is technically a slower one. So I'm not sure where I left off, but where I'm starting is I wanted to mention the British Virgin Islands. That's a Mandela effect for a lot of people. I mean, not the British, the U.S. Virgin Islands. The British, I do remember, but U.S. has their own Virgin Islands. And they are like a territory. So if you're born on U.S. Virgin Islands, you are a citizen of the United States in current timeline. A lot of people just don't remember this existing. What was interesting is I actually, somebody from there, I mean, assuming they're a real human and not an NPC or something, bought something from my store. And that's the first time I've ever shipped to U.S. Virgin Islands was this week. And so my shipping system is all automated through Etsy. And so the post office tells me what I have to fill in. And it did not ask for a customs form. So apparently I can ship whatever I want over there, just like it was one of the regular states. I've never shipped outside of Hawaii's the only one that I've shipped that didn't require a customs form. So we were all kind of in a tizzy because we're like, It was wildlife product, and normally we can't ship that outside of the 50 states. And suddenly we could. Apparently, that's the first time it's ever happened. So, yeah, I don't know. Apparently, it's gonna be like Hawaii or something. I don't know what to say. But I even looked up: do you need a passport? Do you need this? Do you need that? Everything was all conflicting. No, you do not need a passport. Some places said you did need a customs form for shipping. Others said you didn't. Um, I don't know, but it just kind of flipped me out. I've never been allowed to ship a wildlife product out of the 50 states until now. Very interesting. All right, so Virgin Islands. All right, this is another kind of creepy one. Let's see. Let's make sure that we're still. Hopefully the internet will last till the end. Yes, actually I have okay streaming status now. Wow. All right, I've kind of discussed before. They were saying that cells don't, like when you die, your cells don't die right away. It used to be that your cells would die a couple minutes after they stop receiving oxygen. There seems to be a pattern where nerves and cells can live a lot longer, and this article kind of boosts that to a whole nother level. How scientists are bringing people back from the dead. How can I type the exact title in and still not find it? Pocket note. Here, I think no, that wasn't it. It was this one. Huh, darn it. All right, we'll just say it's this one then. This is not the article I was looking for. It might be a direct copy of it, though. Okay, so way back, quite a while ago, when I was fairly young, they would say that sometimes, like, a child could fall into the frozen waters and be fished out like 20 minutes later and somehow resuscitated. It was just children, young children, because they were more flexible in the brain and they could be brought back, some rare cases, without too much damage to their body or mind. But now, okay, it's adults too. And they're saying you can remain in a suspended state for up to 7 hours without permanent cell damage, thanks to improvements in technology like cardiac bypass machine. 7 hours now. You can basically be not have a heart, to be just like kind of frozen. So they're talking about all these different ways. They're talking about like kind of freezing you. So say you got injured really bad and trauma, they would just kind of freeze you and they would have like hours and hours to fix the problem before they defrosted you. So some of the stuff I got, like this one person had fallen into this frozen hole and she was fished out and her heart was stopped and they tried CPR on her for 3 hours. And then they brought her temperature back up, but she still did not have a heartbeat. Finally, they put her on this heart bypass machine and warmed her blood. And then 5 hours after her heart stopped, they were able to get her heart beating before. For 3 hours, she had no heartbeat. Actually, 5 hours total. Okay, so there's the 7 hours you can remain suspended. There's another thing that I never heard of, perfusion injury. They're basically saying that when you have a heart attack, most of the damage occurs when the new sudden rush of oxygen rushes to your heart after your heart is started. So in my old timeline, the damage was from lack of oxygen to the cells in your body and your heart. But in this timeline, it's sudden rush of oxygen to your heart. So that's a whole different deal. It's just really a whole different deal. So I'm just kind of tripping out on that. Back from the Dead, of course, you've got to love the title. The minute I saw that title, I had to click on it. So there's a lot of stuff that this timeline is claiming for basically suspended animation experiments. There's also like all these gases that they're saying that it's like a knockdown gas where you're sort of suspended. It's not just that you're unconscious, but no neurological harm. After exposing mice to 80 parts per million of some of that gas, Roth found he could induce a suspended state that could later be reversed by returning the mice to regular air with no neurological harm. So he's working on a grant to bring this gas to the regular masses. So it's basically touted as like a short-term suspended animation. See, this just wasn't possible in the old timeline. The body is different here. Just really trippy. So, yeah, a lot of those problems that they used to say, oh, there'll probably be never a solution because of this and this and this. Well, the reasons that there would never be a solution are all changing now. So now there'll be a solution. They're working on it. They're finding them. So if you're frozen solid, the story was you would get these ice crystals and that would kill you. But now they're basically saying that your cells can last like a really long time just using the oxygen that they already have. In my old timeline, they had to have new oxygen regularly or they die in a few minutes. But in this timeline, the cells can just kind of crank along at a really slow rate and they don't need additional oxygen for a long time. So that's a total sea change from how it used to be for me. What happened to the fact that after 10 minutes your brain is so damaged that you can't live? Yeah, it's gone. It's gone. Well, why does suffocation kill you then after 3 minutes? Phil W., suffocation does not kill you after 3 minutes anymore. In fact, some people can hold their freaking breath for like 20 freaking minutes. That's funny you said the 3 minutes because, yes, I remember 3 minutes and a bit being like the world record for how long you could hold breath. Record for holding breath is now 22 minutes and 22 seconds. This is a big strip more than 3 minutes. I do remember 3 minutes back in the day. And it's interesting because a few years ago, I had sort of noticed I had to hold my breath for something, and I had noticed it was just easier than I remembered. I could hold it longer. I didn't feel like that immediate discomfort. It wasn't nearly as immediate as it used to be. Yeah, 22 minutes. I know. I did a thing on this even a year ago. This one's actually an older ME. All right, next. All right, this one, kind of a more minor one. Was it about 10 years ago? I remember infrasound, and there was a big thing where they said elephants can communicate by infrasound, which is like a sound that humans can't hear. It was like a super deep sound that traveled really far, and they could communicate for miles using infrasound. And so Jay Elliott noticed that now he found a couple of them, hippos, rhinos. I actually started reading up on it, and all kind of things now they say communicate by infrasound. I probably don't even have the full list. There was dolphins and whales, and then there was elephants. And that's the last I heard, that it was a big deal that elephants could do it. Ooh. But now it's what? Whales, elephants, rhinos, tigers, giraffes, okapis, which okapis are a Mandela for a lot of people, alligators, tigers, lions, pigeons, cod, octopus, and a bunch of other things, all communicate for miles using infrasound. And they're saying that infrasound is also a sound that the earth produces, and perhaps that's why they can predict earthquakes. If that was the case, though, then it shouldn't be that hard for us to listen to the infrasound and predict earthquakes too. And maybe that's next, who knows. Can infrasound cause hallucinations? May cause feelings of awe or fear in humans. May make people vaguely feel that odd or supernatural events are taking place. Huh. What animals have infrasound? Many animals. Cuttlefish. So anyway, yeah, there just used to be the whales, and then not dolphins. Dolphins only did short distance, but it was the whales, and then it was the elephants, and that was like it. I remember doctors had 3 to 5 minutes to get you breathing in, or you would have brain damage. Yeah, it's not a thing anymore. Not so much. They're basically saying that a lot of the damage now is when the oxygen rushes back in. It's not from the lack of oxygen. It used to be the lack of oxygen, your cells would die. Infrasound, called ELF waves, can have damaging effects on the mind and body. I don't know. That's one current storyline. Heck if I know if it's true or not. But apparently in the current timeline, tigers and lions and everything and its uncle can communicate using it. Right. All right. This one was found by... You know what? I'm a bad girl because I don't remember. Who found bush dog canny? See, I was spacing out today writing these down. Looking to see who found this one. Oh, it was John Austin. Okay. Oh, yeah, I see. All right. I did write it down, but not close enough. Bush dog. I think I covered bush dog, but I don't remember looking like this. With all these spots and all this. It's a cool looking beast. Apparently they're sold as pets. This guy's holding the paws and it's not biting him. It's obviously pissed. I think even a cat would let you have it after that. Very interesting looking creature. We've got video now of this thing. It's a bush dog. Now, I saw other images of bush dogs, but they're just kind of gray colored. I have not heard of the word canny. It's a canid found in Central and South America. See, I've seen these images of them, But that speckled one I have not seen. And it doesn't look like these images of bush dogs. So I don't know what that thing is. See, that's supposed to be a bush dog. I've had those on. Cute little goobers. So what's this thing? I don't know what that is. It's not very mean. I don't know what that animal is. 0 comments. They're calling it a bush dog, but it looks nothing like it. So, yeah. Huh. Beats me. Let me know if you figure it out. I don't think it was in my old timeline, though. All right. All right. Raggedy Ann. Freckles or no freckles? Did Raggedy Ann have freckles or not? Looks like a wolverine. Okay, let's see if I can find it. All right, I'll type that in and then I'm going to jump. Wolverine. Huh. No. Wolverines are bigger. They're looking kind of, Wolverines used to be one brown color to me. They look like it's got some pretty patterns on them, but yeah, no Wolverine. Not that I know what it is. All right, freckles, no freckles. We got a bunch of votes. Scoopy, Darkwolf's Den. Say freckles. Skooks did not make freckles. All right, so Raggedy Ann. Well, apparently in this timeline she didn't have any freckles. Nobody was able to find any freckles. This one was found by somebody on Retcon with a very interesting login name, which is probably stoned 6969. Nice little login name there, dude. But he wasn't too stoned to notice that Raggedy Ann was missing freckles. See if we can get an image in here that's big enough to see. The other thing I noticed is these, the lower eyelashes. I don't remember these funky lower eyelashes. She's got lower eyelashes, but not upper eyelashes. And some of them, it really just looks like there's like eye bags or a scar or something. The face just does not look right to me. And I agree there should be. I don't remember that little dot on the smile, like there's a smile with this red dot. I don't remember that. The whole face just looks different to me. But yeah, no freckles in this timeline. No freckles. A number of people said they specifically remembered 3 freckles per cheek. So that's a pretty clear memory. She looks, I don't know, weird in this one, in this timeline. It's just a weird look. Now, if you look at the costumes, let's see. Of course, now I can't find it, but interesting. See if that guy. The costumes, when I looked them up earlier, did have a fair number that had freckles. Of course, now I'm not finding any of them. They all look legit. I don't know if they've disappeared that fast. I'm going to go back to Retcon and see if I can find his original. Doink. Oh, Raggedy Ann makeup. That's what he used. All right, let's try that. Doink. This is interesting. If you look up Raggedy Ann makeup, everyone adds freckles, but the dolls don't have any. I did look up Raggedy Ann makeup when he said so, and they almost all had freckles, and now almost none of them do. But that one has some freckles. That one has the 3 per cheek, as other people have specifically mentioned. That one has it. A lot fewer have it than when I looked like this morning. I don't know if this is a really new one. A lot of them don't have it. She kind of does. Anyways, suspicious. So yeah, I think that's legitimately... The old pi. Yeah, a couple people said that the number for pi, like in pi r squared, had changed. Unfortunately, I only memorized it to 3.14159 because that was all that my math teacher required us to memorize it to. And it's still 3.14159 last I checked. So they were saying it was a couple digits further out that had changed. Yeah, it looks like it's still 3.14159. Tanuki. Yes, I've had Tanuki on a number of times. Raccoon Dog, Tanuki. That one's been on. That one's a little older for me. I've known those about since maybe 2013 was when I first heard of Tanuki. AKA Raccoon Dog. They're pretty prominent in anime and manga too now, although I don't remember hearing of them before about 2015 maybe in manga. Okay. All right, we're getting down the end. Last question for you. I am not sure if I covered this one or not. I might have, but it's a goodie, so I'm going to go back to it. What is the longest river in the USA? The longest river in the USA. QB, do you remember her as Pippi Longstrump? Because it was always Pippi Longstocking for me. I think there was some MEs on Pippi. What are the MEs? I remember that was an older one. Longstocking. Oh, where's all the red? I remember her wearing a bunch of red, actually. It's not the clothing I remember. I don't know on that one. Looks like she got the braids from Wendy's commercial. I kind of remember her more as like, the hair more like just like sticking out and not being the braids. These braids really remind me of the braids from, the missing braids from the Wendy's burgers. Girl. Yeah, that she's missing her braids. She used to have braids like this. She had pigtails, basically. And they even curled up like that. And now She just has like a little bunch of hair on the side. That was an older ME. Now you can see there's still a lot of, look, she's even holding it up to match. There's still a lot of residual for that. Or at least those two. Girl costume. People remember those braids and they were long. See, look. Wendy's wig, Wendy's costume for kids. Yeah, the braids are still there. All right, so who remembers the longest river in the United States? Without checking, no cheating. What do you remember? Pippi. Oh, was it PIPI or was it PIPPI? I am not sure on that one. I was not a big enough fan. It could be that changed. I would not be surprised, but I can't chime in for sure on that one. Mississippi. Cass P. Crafter remembers Mississippi. Mississippi. Yeah, everybody remembers it used to be Missouri. Okay, Skook's Strange World comes from a strange world where it was Missouri. And that strange world is this world because it is Missouri now. I remember Mississippi. I asked a friend of mine earlier today. He remembered Mississippi. Well, a lot of people don't remember anything because they don't remember any details. But, so yeah, it's the Missouri now. List of longest rivers. So they're counting only the main stems. And the longest is Missouri, 2,341 miles. Then it's the Mississippi. So the Mississippi has become like a common misconception. I don't know why everybody would just magically think it's Mississippi and not the Missouri. But, yep, there you go. I think it's pretty suspicious that, like, I mean, really everybody, 4 out of 5 people seem to remember the Mississippi. I was surprised to see Tanuki being a real thing. Yeah, that's a good point. I've heard about them as like a mystical creature in anime before I knew they were real. Pippi Longstrump is the original name from Sweden, translated to Pippi Longstocking. Could well be. I only know the American name. Yep. That's it. We're cooking out. We're kicking out Skook because she remembers Missouri. You have to come up with 3 more MEs real fast so you don't get kicked out. I'm sure you're up to the task though. Stop watching TV or getting the updates. Yeah, I think I did talk about this before actually. This one was actually covered by a user on Redcon called Time Lord. And he mentioned it, and I was like, oh, did I talk? I'm pretty sure I talked about it. I've covered so much stuff, sometimes it's kind of hard to remember. Because sometimes I write down stuff that I'm going to use, and then if I get too many, I'll cross them out, because I think they're kind of boring compared to the other ones, and I don't want to talk all night. So sometimes I write them down, and then I don't talk about them. Sometimes I do talk about them. Let's see. So I think that we're coming down the home stretch. I actually covered a lot in only an hour and a half by talking really fast. So I'm going to get this cat. So you can say goodnight to the kitty cat. Look at how he hangs when he's relaxed. He's so cute. lump. For some reason, he's hanging out today. My little lump. Good kitty. When he's tired, he's the sweetest cat you have ever seen. And then when he's feisty, he's such a pill. All right, kitty. But when he's sleepy, you can hang him like a limp rag doll. And he doesn't even care. All right, let's see what we got here. I think we're just about on the home stretch now. All right, Skook, you're back in because you remember Kennedy's car. You had scar changes. That's actually a pretty common one. And your earlobes changed. Interesting, interesting. Yeah, I think my ears have gotten, they're more pointy at the top, like elf ears. So Skook's allowed back into the party. Good job. Kitty. That's funny you guys are kind of talking about the hot water staying. I actually wanted to say the reverse last year, that stuff was cooling down really fast, at least in the small cups that I just had the tea out. Maybe it's because time is moving faster and it's confusing me, but it just seemed like the tea got cold really fast. I think I talked about it before. I can't really sip hot tea like normal people. It has to cool down a lot. In Japanese, they call it cat tongue. Like cats won't ever eat anything hot. They have to let it cool down. So I was always like that. Then there was like about a month where suddenly I could slam it down like everybody else. And at first I just thought that they kept bringing me less hot tea at all the restaurants. And then I realized, no, I can slurp it down now. Steam's boiling off and I can slurp it. And that lasted about a month. And then my cat tongue came back. It was weird. And it's not quite as bad as it was before, but I have to wait again. This is the weirdest thing because for like a month I wouldn't burn my mouth and now I burn my mouth again. So these anatomy Emmys are just weird. I have to borrow ice all the time because I can't drink hot stuff. This stuff is crazy. Like everyone could be just mass remembering the same thing. Yeah, that's the thing. If you're misremembering, somebody actually brought up like, I probably should have saved this one. On Redcon, they pulled up a list of the most commonly misspelled words in the United States. And the number one misspelled word is not a Mandela effect. It was tattoo. So apparently a lot of people spell it with only two T's instead of three. So spelling it T-A-T-O-O is, and I have not heard of that as a Mandela effect. But that's the most commonly misspelled word in the English language, supposedly. So why, if it's all misremembering just hard to spell words, why is that one not one? It should be. I mean, if it's just all commonly misspelled words, then that should be our number one Mandela effect, and not something like dilemma. So it was just interesting. And there were a lot of Mandela effects on that list, but lower down. Hilarious was 1L. Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. I remember it with 1L. I wish I just knew why, what is it about these words that they just change like one letter? Why You wouldn't think, I mean, does it really matter? That's what bugs me about spelling changes. It's like, why bother? Smoky, get rid of the E, it looks like smoky. I mean, why? Is it really just something that was done differently a long time ago? You would think that more things would be different, that the things wouldn't be as sneaky. Or maybe a lot of things more changed and we got the downloads on a lot of things and only didn't get the downloads on a few things. You know, maybe it's so much more different. I don't know. You got to wonder if we all got lots of downloads we don't know about. Definitely has definitely changed. Because I had a heuristic for remembering that, and then for a while it didn't work, and then it started working again. So that one is one that changed for sure. If I have a heuristic for something, some of the harder to spell words I got like these memory methods to remember how to spell them. And those worked fine for, 40 years until suddenly they didn't work. Yeah, Smoky lost the E. It's smoky now. Smoky, filled with smelling of smoke. Somehow Smokey the Bear, which is now Smoky Bear, kept its E, though. So Smoky Bear has an E. But it lost its the. I don't know. How do these things get worked out? Let's see. It used to be for a while it was still Smoky Mountains, too. Yeah. For a while, Smoky Mountains still had the E, but now it has lost the E. We were talking I know it was a while ago, like 2 years ago, they were talking about how Smokey the Bear and Smoky Mountains were the only ones that still had the E. But I see Smoky Mountains has fallen to the Mandela. And now only Mr. Bear has the E. Bizarre, yeah. Somehow. Looks like it's... Some of these have changed so much it makes me crazy. That still looks good to me. The current one. Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell if reality changed or my memories got scrambled. I do not trust, in some ways I trust my memories more, but in some ways I trust them less because it seems I've seen people get the downloads and I have to wonder if I got some of them and didn't know. Tornadoes, yeah, and volcanoes. Those ones make me crazy. Tornadoes used to be... Why would you put the E? It was just, you have an O, just stick an S on there. But now it's ES, tornadoes. Used to be tornadoes, just stick the S on there. Why not? No, it was always Smokey the Bear, and it was not a song. I don't even know the Smokey the Bear song. It was the commercials. It was Smokey the Bear, and it had the on it. I'm not... In my timeline, there is no question. It was Smokey the Bear. In fact, that's one that one of my friends who doesn't see many Emmys was actually freaked out about and ran out of the room. Yeah, it was tornadoes and volcanoes. Volcanoes. Used to just have an S. Used to be volcanoes. Now it's OES. That's the other one that changed. Yeah, see, I didn't even know they had a song. So it's like, what song? And then they're trying to say the song is why I'm misremembering. That's one thing I noticed about the skeptics. They're like, oh, you're just misremembering due to some bizarre, weird little niche thing that I've never even heard of. Somehow has infected my entire memory and made me remember wrong. And I never even saw the movie. I never even heard the song. Yeah, that is a problem when it keeps flipping too, because then you have the dual memory thing. Smokey the Bear had a weird rap song in the 2000s. Yeah, nope, I've never heard of that thing. Yeah, 346 for you, and it's 146 for me. It's time for me to hit it, so I'm gonna. You said you've seen the kitty cat, so it's time to close up shop. Yep, everybody remembers Smokey the Bear. I will. That's one of the Emmys I will stake my life on, and also that there was a yellow sun and then a white sun on Land O'Lakes. It's a small thing, but man, I covered that one so much. I spent so much time looking for the old one and looking at the new one, and now there's a new one. All right. Oops. Seems I have lost my YouTube. I'll do it over here then. So anyways, yes, lots of good ones for you guys. I appreciate it as usual. So think good thoughts, everybody. See if I can, there we go. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.